Hi everyone, welcome to our channel, Rebecca's Stew and the Crew. I'm Rebecca. Today we have some Dollar Tree DIYs for this winter season, and we'll go over the supplies first. For the first project that we're going to make some votives. So we'll be using these pillar candles from Dollar Tree, the small clear white votives, and a thin bud vase also from Dollar Tree. Then we'll use some of the LED candles, or if you have real candles, that will work as well. Some socks. We're also going to use some ribbon of our choice. I'm going to use some buffalo plaid, and then I'll use some of the winter greenery, one of the berry sprigs, and also some of the Dollar Tree twine. We'll need some scissors and some glue also. So let's get crafty. So these are super easy to make. What we're going to do is we're going to take these tall socks from Dollar Tree. They also sell them in gray and black, as well as this off-white. We're going to slide this over the pillar candle, and so that we have it all the way up to the top with just a little bit of overhang. And then at the bottom, we're going to cut the sock off at about an inch past the base of the pillar candle. Just make sure you have it laying nice and straight before you cut it. Now we want a nicer edge on the other end of the sock here, so we're going to just tug on either side of the sock, and that will cause it to roll up. Then we'll take the sock and we'll put the rolled edge towards the top. Because we're only using one pair of socks, I want that cuffed edge at the top of socks. I want that to be at the bottom, just so it's not noticeable that all three votives don't have that little cuff there. Once you have the sock in place, just lift it up and put a few dots of hot glue underneath of the sock to help hold it in place. It's not necessary to do that step, but you can if you would like to. The sock is tight enough that it holds pretty snug to the pillar candle. So now we'll take this ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's the wired ribbon they have out for fall, and we are going to measure enough to wrap all the way around the votive. So once we double check to make sure we have the measurement right, what we're going to do is take the ribbon and add about 2 or 3 little dots of hot glue, and then we will center the pillar candle on top of the ribbon to make sure that this is going to stay in place. The little bit of glue will also seep through the sock and help the sock to stay on the pillar candle where we placed it. So once we have the first portion of the ribbon on, then we're going to take some more hot glue on the raw edge of the ribbon, and we'll wrap that tight around the pillar candle. We'll hold it in place just for a second till it starts to dry, and then fold the other edge of the ribbon over to create a nice edge there so it's not all jagged looking, and add some more hot glue, and then pull tight to make sure you have the ribbon really nice and tight around your pillar candle. You want to hold that for a few seconds until it starts to dry. And here's what it looks like so far. And then we're going to take some Dollar Tree twine, tie it in a simple knot in the back where the seam is for the ribbon. And once we have the knot tied, we'll cut off that tiny little excess piece of string on the twine. And then we'll wrap the twine in kind of like an X pattern a few times around the center of the ribbon. So maybe 6 or 7 times will do. And then in the back, if you want, you can tie it off just by tucking it under a piece of twine and then just making a simple knot, or you can just glue the edge down. I just chose to use some hot glue, and you'll cut off any excess that you have. And now we'll start decorating the candles. They're so easy to make. So we're just going to take some of the Dollar Tree greenery they have out for Christmas and winter right now, and we pull a few little stems off, and we start to glue the greenery on in an X type pattern. Just add a few pieces at the top. And then we made a very simple twine bow. You just wrap it around your fingers a few times to make a loop, and then tie it off in the center to create a bow. So we'll glue that right to the center. And then we will position a few more pieces of greenery underneath of the bow to finish off the X pattern. So the reason I didn't put all of the greenery underneath to start before I put the bow on is I just wanted to make sure that I had the leaves a little bit further down so I'd make sure I could see them and that the bow wasn't going to completely cover and hide all of the greenery that we are placing on there. Now we're going to add some more hot glue to the center, add a few more pieces of greenery to the center of the bow on top just to help give it a nice layered effect. And then the last part will be to glue on 3 berries right in the center of the bow, covering up those ends of the greenery that we just placed on top. That'll help hide the glue when it dries also. So here's what the first one looks like all done. So obviously this one already has a candle in it, and the other two will have to add a candle to it. So you could either use the small candles you can buy in a 4-pack from Dollar Tree or the LED candles. So again, the bud vase, we're just going to line this up. I'm going to mark it with a pencil just to make sure I don't cut too short, and then I'll cut the sock down about 1/2 inch to 1 inch past the end of the bud vase. Now we'll take the bud vase, and again we'll take that nice edge of the sock and we'll place that towards the bottom, and then tug on each side of the sock at the top and just keep pulling, and it will roll that raw edge to have the same edge that we have on the pillar candle that we just made. So having the rolled portion of the sock at the top of the candles will help disguise the fact that we don't have the same edge with just using one pair of sock. You know, we only had that one nice edge that we could use. So you have to kind of disguise it a little bit by using the rolled edge at the top for all 3, unless you want to buy 2 pairs of socks. So again, we put the ribbon on and then the twine. We're going to glue on some more of the greenery, make a simple twine bow. And we'll glue that to the center, add a little bit more greenery. And then the berries. And again, if you want to, you can add a little bit of hot glue underneath the top and bottom edge of the sock to make sure it stays in place. Now for the shorter one, of course, we've already used that nice edge of the top of the sock for both the taller candles. So we're going to use a rolled edge at the top and bottom for the smallest votive that we make here. So you want to cut the toe of the sock off and then just give it a tug at the top and the bottom of the sock to help it to roll up. So it takes a few seconds just to roll it up and get it to the perfect length, but then you will want to put a little bit of hot glue on this one to help hold it in place. Just with it being shorter and both ends of it needing to be rolled, you'll want to add some hot glue there. Now the ribbon's too wide, so we're going to fold 2 rows of the squares down, and this will be the inside that we glue to the candle, so you won't be able to see where we folded the ribbon over, but it was too wide. It wanted to cover the whole entire sock portion in the middle, so we'll fold that over just a tad. So I wasn't quite sure how thin I wanted to make it, so I did fold it over again just to see, and I decided just to fold it over the 2 squares. Seemed to be enough so that you still had some of the white of the sock showing, to try to make them as uniform to the other candles as possible. And then again, we'll just glue this onto the center of our little votive here. Fold that raw edge under so I have a nice seam. And then we'll add the twine. We'll make another bow. I made this one just a little bit smaller than the other two, just because the votive was so small. I wanted to make sure it was the right size for the votive and it wasn't huge and hanging over the sides. And then even the greenery that I cut is just a tad bit smaller, so it fits and it's more uniform with the size votive that we're gluing it to. You don't want to go too small because you do want it to look uniform with the other two candles that you've made. Now, if you wanted to do all 3 candles the same size, you could use all pillar candles, and then you would just need to buy 2 pairs of socks. So here's what they look like all finished. I love how they turned out. They're super easy, no sewing or anything like that. And I just put real candles in mine. And as you can see, that works out really nice. So now for our second project, we are going to go over the supplies first. We'll need scissors again and also the hot glue. We're going to need some more buffalo plaid ribbon, some of the winter greenery. You could either use some Dollar Tree poster stickers or the smaller stickers, or you could use vinyl and cut that out if you have a vinyl cutter. This wood house piece from Dollar Tree, if you can't find those, they have these arrows that would work the same. One of these Dollar Tree ornaments, some white and black chalk paint, a paintbrush, and let's get crafty. So what we're going to do first is we're going to cover the whole entire house from the Dollar Tree. These come in the new like wood piece boxes that they have out. They have a lot of like wood planks and things, but they do have some shapes, and they had these houses. So they were $1, obviously, but you could also get these at Michael's craft store, anywhere from like 98 cents to $1. So we covered the whole thing in white paint. While that dries, we're going to take the Dollar Tree ornament with the truck and the tree, and we're going to paint that with the black chalk paint. So I wanted this to have kind of like a farmhouse type look to it. If you want to weather the house a little bit, you could add some antiquing wax, but I just left mine painted white with the white chalk paint. So then I cut out No Place Like Home for the holidays with my vinyl cutter, but again, you could use stickers or a marker, even a paint marker, and I put the vinyl at the top and the bottom and then glue the ornament right to the center. And then we're just going to take some of the buffalo plaid ribbon. If it's too wide, you can cut it down smaller, or if you have some of the smaller ribbon that comes in the farmhouse set that they carry, then you could use that to wrap around the edge of the house. We're just going to keep adding some hot glue all the way around, just a few dots. You don't have to completely cover it in hot glue to get it to stay, but you do want to make sure you pull it nice and tight so the ribbon stays in place. You don't want it to get all bunched and gathered up around the edges. So just keep smoothing it out and go all the way back down to where you first started. I started mine at the bottom so you wouldn't be able to see with the raw edge. And here's what it looks like so far. And now we're just going to make a bow. So I'm going to cut a few, about 8-inch pieces of ribbon, and then we'll create these little loops. So I ended up cutting 4 pieces. And then we're just going to create a loop and put a little dot of hot glue on the end. And then just glue those together. And you'll do all 4 in the same manner. And then we'll tie them together once we gather them all up. So I'm going to use some silver floral wire that I had, but again, we've already have the twine out, so you can use that to tie it off, or you can just cut another piece of the buffalo plaid ribbon and use that to tie off the center. So really anything will work. You just need something to tie it together. So we're just going to gather all 4 loops together. Make sure that you have the piece that you glued towards the back for all of them. Just bunch them all up and then gather them in the center and tie it off. Again, I'm using a piece of floral wire to do mine. once you have it nice and secure, you'll just want to fluff up the loops to your bow and position them. So some of the smaller wired ribbon at the Dollar Tree is really nice. I like when it has the wires in it, so you can puff up the loops and it'll stay where you put them. Once you have your small bow made, we're going to go back to the house, and you can glue it wherever you want. I wanted to glue mine up at the top on the edge. You'll want to hold it in place for a few seconds until it dries, and then just pull off a few small pieces of the snowy greenery from the Dollar Tree and add those to the center of your bow using some hot glue. If you wanted to add some berries here, that would work. You could do either red or white if this was the color scheme that you chose to make yours in. So there's lots of different options. Now, if you use the arrow that looks like a house, because you can't find this wood piece, you might want to glue a few Jenga blocks on the back to help it to stand up. So here's the little house all completed and the candles together. I think they were a lot of fun to make. If you enjoyed this video, we post DIY videos every single Thursday. Here's a few that we've posted the last few weeks. For fall, we started doing some gift giving ideas as well for the upcoming holiday season. So I'd hope you guys would check some of those videos out if you enjoyed this video. We post those, like I said, every single Thursday. And then every Friday, we post a video showing what's new for the week at the Dollar Tree. And I try to go to 4 or 5 Dollar Trees each week and combine all of the pictures into one large video so you can see what is new and out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And here are those other videos from our channel you might also enjoy. Have a great night, everyone.